Can you write Valiant Hearts, The Great War? Pushing on, Valiant Hearts, The Great War. Join me, myself, and I as we push on in this great story about World War I. What? Anything that sounds better than what I'm trying to say. Okay? And then hit share link. Thank you. That's it, you're good to go. No videos there. Or no uploading, if you don't mind. Welcome to the Fat Man channel. Tonight we're going to be playing Valiant Hearts, The Great War. Continuing this game from last night and a few nights ago. I did Chapter 1 the other day and Chapter 2 2 nights ago. And this is going to be a continuation from Chapter 3. I'm glad that you joined me. If you look on the Twitch site, I have some links. Please check those out. Please follow them. There's my YouTube link with those past videos on them. Eventually, if you watch this and there's no videos on Twitch because they no longer stay on Twitch for too long. So if you could, please check that out. Also, take a look at the rest of the Twitch channel. Please follow me on Twitch. Subscribe to YouTube. I plan on doing this for a long time. I just started only about 10 days ago, 12 days ago. So I'm still learning, still collecting equipment to help the streaming better, help the experience better. But please, if you have any suggestions, whatnot, or any type of contribution, please message me on Twitch, message me on my YouTube channel, and hopefully we can make this better experience. I'm just going to jump in right into it because I've noticed that the chapters are getting a little bit longer. So last night's went about 4 hours. So I'm hoping it'll be around the same. It's around 4 hours, maybe 2, 3.5. So we'll see. Let's jump in and play. Chapter 3, The Poppy Fields.
My darling, war has taken away a very dear friend. He was like a brother to me, and his death affects me much more than I could imagine. In happier news, Carl is safe from the trenches, and his condition improves steadily. I'll go and see him on my next leave. And what about you? How are you? Are things in Saint Miel any better?
Carl discovered things were not, in fact, any better. According to Marie's last letter, his son had fallen gravely ill. Carl had come to a decision. This war would never end. He had to escape.
Als der kaum wer Trommeln anbackt.
Facts. Life in prisoner of war camps, even in captivity, class differences still counted. Some camps were reserved for officers, and others for foot soldiers. Prisoners were generally undeferred. even more so if local population was also undernourished. Prisoners of war replaced civilians at the front and were forced to work in munition factories, on farms, and down mines.
Im Knoten auf der Klaus.
German identification tags. German tags. Unix-Marken. Rukenmarken. Were not the same for all soldiers. At the start of the war, the shape the materials used, and even information changed depending on the region from which the soldier came. In September 1915, a standard model was introduced on a disc with the soldier's name, dates, and place of birth, and regiment details. The model was replaced in late 1916.
Im Hunkerswärst.
Notebook. Many soldiers had notebooks in which they wrote their diaries and memoirs. These notebooks provide historians with first-hand accounts of the horrors of war experienced by soldiers. May 8th, 1916. Sad day today. Freddie and Walt perish. May their souls rest in peace. February 21st, 1916. Emile saved my skin again today. What a deluge of shells. I got to write to my younger brother. He's worried about me. May 8th, 1916. I've been stuck here in this POW camp south of Reims for 11 months now. My health is picking up, and I'm even walking again, at last. All thanks to Anna. Marie's last little letter worried me. Victor is very sick, and they don't have the resources to take care of him in Saint Mille. I must get out of here. February 21st, 1916. This morning shells rained down on our sector. Freddie was out in front and was lucky to be pulled through. I had to play cannon boy to dig him out of there. I was awarded a medal, but I'd much prefer a leave of absence. I hope Carl's okay. It was such a relief to receive Marie's last letter.
Träger der Aster dabei. Gut gemacht.
Thank you.
Gut gemacht.
Biscuit box. Prisoners suffered from hunger in camps, and food was often stolen. This metal box was handmade to contain bread or biscuits. Its owner could take his food reserves with him when he went to work to avoid them being stolen. Lunchbox, eh?
Oj, liebe. Ej, begåvligt.
The fallen dogs røg fyre. Queda este leste.
Broken German bayonet. This long, broad, flat German bayonet was designed to thrust into an enemy's rib cage, breaking his ribs, puncturing his lungs even.
Get away.
Facts. Armored vehicles. Assault artillery was invented during the war in an attempt to break through enemy lines. The first prototypes of armored vehicles appeared. Generals noted that vehicles fitted with wheels were ineffective in the trench environment. Engineers thus worked on prototypes to overcome the problem, and a caterpillar track proved to be the perfect solution for the problem. Eventually what they did was left the front wheels and the back wheels, the back two axles, they would eventually put a half track, and that's what they would call them, or half tracks. And that way you weren't using as much track. That way when you are in the cities and stuff, you weren't also just digging up your roads with them and all that. No Man's Land. No Man's Land was the zone located between the Allied and the enemy trenches. The distance varied between 50 and 1,500 yards. The zone was watched closely by day, and anyone venturing out would be shot. But by night, it became a theater of espionage, when barbed wire and traps were set to protect trenches. Most battle casualties resulted in this zone. The deadliest land is the Dead Man's Land. No Man's Land. It was devastating. This was a stretch of land that you had to cross as quickly as possible. You are doing everything your body doesn't want to do. You are running towards people that are shooting a lot of bullets and artillery at you, you basically have to do the exact opposite what your body wants to do, which is lay down and hide or lay down and take cover kind of thing. It was very muddy. It was always torn up. There was always artillery shells or some sort of barrage hitting it, mortars, artillery. It was hell. Didn't know you could leave them at diagonals. Yeah, I know, I get it. Alright, if I can.
Go now. Shoot. Go, get out.
Motherfucker. Ah, bloody hell.
Freddy was given a hero's welcome by the French forces. Emile wrote to Anna to let her know that her father was free and out of harm's way. Freddy and Emile's reunion, however, would be short-lived. May 14th, 1916. Freddy was sent to the Somme, while Emile's regiment was quartered near a small village at the top of a hill. The village was called Vauquois. This is where the conflict had moved underground. Holed up in their trenches, the two camps dug tunnels and galleries. The underground war had begun.
So there's a huge part of World War I that did happen underground. Vimy Ridge, that's one way the Canadians were successful at Vimy Ridge where other countries weren't. We had dug tunnels, engineers had dug the tunnels underneath the ridge and were able to exit on the other side, and pop up behind the enemy to distract them enough to allow others to cross no man's land without having the full force of the German army shooting at them. This was not the main scenario. The main scenario was to dig a tunnel underneath the ground, underneath the enemy's lines, and make these huge rooms, these just a room to hold as much info or explosives as they could. And I mean tons and tons and tons. These were some of the largest explosions ever happening in the world, because there was so much that they were packing into these rooms. And what would happen is they would detonate it, and not only would they, remove things like barbed wire and mines and soldiers and trenches, they just blow the fuck out of everything and cross the lines and gain that much room. What ended up happening was they had things like listening devices were made, vibrations, trying to figure out where the enemy was digging, because these guys were digging tunnels and they were sometimes passing each other by hundreds of feet, just simply even tens of feet. And eventually what they do is, if they could hear somebody digging, they would blow up as much as possible that tunnel section to stop them from digging over. It was pretty ruthless. When there was such a stalemate underneath, they had to do something. At the time, air, parachutes, all that wasn't viable. The only way was to go underground. And now if you imagine that, it was not viable to drop men from parachutes, to have tanks roll over all this stuff here. World War II was vastly different from World War I. World War I was the war of attrition. Basically, when you enter into a war of attrition, it is the last guy with the most guys standing wins. They go, it's a meat grinder. And they just keep throwing men in, grinding them until the other side's, oh, fuck, we don't have enough men. A generation was robbed. Both sides. May 14th, 1916. Facts, Verquois, and mine warfare. Underground warfare really developed beneath the hill of Verquois, to the west of Verdun. Each side dug saping tunnels beneath the tunnels to sabotage the enemy's position. Opposing engineers frequently came within feet of each other. With the advent pneumatic drills and ventilation systems, tunnels could be dug deeper. The cumulated use of 500 tons of TNT completely deformed the hill. 500 tons of TNT. This is some of the largest explosions that have happened from mankind up until then. After in World War II, before they were making the Trinity site, before they were making the Manhattan Project, they had studied the effects of large explosions. Some of these explosions were taken into evidence. There was a munitions explosion that happened in Halifax. That was the largest one, and it was a munition ship that had caught fire and just laid waste to the surrounding area. So that was huge. At that time, that was enormous back then. So let's get back to it.
Up. Oi. What? 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 Hey, what? 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 Hey.
Shit.
Hey, what? What? Hey. What? What? That's it. What?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what? 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 Ah. What? 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 Hey. What? Does he? What? What? What?
Now we're working. Now it's cooking on fire.
What? Yeah, God.
Uh-oh. He died. Must have been methane.
aber Knolle an der Flappe. Der Ofen kluntert nicht.
Merci, mon ami. Adieu.
Non. Hey, stillstand! Du da, was?
Gibt's doch. Merci, mon ami.
Wow.
What? Hey, Patsy.
Okay, yeah. British Identification Tag 1915. The British changed their dog tags in the course of conflict. At the start of the war, soldiers were issued with a single aluminum disc, but because of the huge number of volunteers, producers and engravers could not keep up with the demand. The aluminum discs were replaced by red vulcanized asbestosis fiber discs. In 1916, the War Office requested that additional of a second disc to cope with the problem of unidentified corpse. When you go into battle, you're to have two tags. Usually they tie one to a boot or hide it somewhere else on the body, and then the other one goes around your neck.
What? What? Ah. Allez.
Yeah, this is
What? Hey, viens ici. What?
Woman on the crack.
What? Hey. What? What?
Good boy. There we go. You're watching the Fat Man Go Boom channel. Please subscribe. Please follow me on Twitch. Check out my Fat Man Go Boom channel on YouTube and subscribe to that. There's some links down below on my Twitch site. I plan on doing this a lot. I've been streaming now for about 12 days. I'm looking forward to doing even more. I start between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. and I go anywhere between a minimum of 2 hours up until 4, 5, 6 hours. Back to the game. Trench lantern. A lantern that could be folded away and stored flat in a backpack. Soldiers placed a candle inside the lantern which protected it from the wind.
Merci, vieux frère.
Oh bah on dit, c'est pas tout. Un régiment fait mal à visitant.
Et prône.
Caron fait bouillard, vieux grognon réveillant.
Allez, here come. Yeah. Oh, no. Hey,
French officers were proud of the heavy losses inflicted on the enemy. Emile, full of anger, refused to be decorated for what he considered to be a cowardly act. Emile and Freddy were, however, happy to have saved Anna's father from Baron von Dorf's clutches. His scientific research could no longer be used to make weapons of war. Good news being few and far between, they wanted to savor this moment. But Anna had frightening news. Carl had been killed while trying to escape the POW camp.
No.
Upon hearing of his death, Emile became sickened with grief.
Military police. The military police were responsible for enforcing discipline among soldiers outside companies, including in civilian zones, and were responsible for arresting soldiers found without passes, caught plundering, or committing any other offense, such as drunkenness or ill discipline. They also collected stragglers, guarded against spies, controlled traffic, and chased down deserters and mutineers. Managing the dead. Managing the dead, whether in the trenches or in the hospital, was a complicated task. Many bodies disappeared on the battlefield, and makeshift cemeteries were dug up in close proximity to the front line. To identify corpses as well as their paybooks, soldiers were issued with an aluminum identification disc or a dog tag. Initially, one tag was issued, but this created its own identification issues, as the tags would be removed from corpses for administration purposes, leaving the bodies with no means of identification. So, from 1917, 2 tags were issued, one for admin and one for the remaining corpse. I know from reading about it in the trenches and stuff, the trenches were pretty bad. Sometimes they would bury the dead into the walls. It was something that our generation, thank God, has never experienced. But I honestly think there's many things that we take granted for that these people had to endure.